તાજા સમાચાર તમારી ભાષામાં મેળવવા માટે ડાઉનલોડ કરો ગુજરાતી મિડડેની એપ.
You know, I have to say that the viewers are going to watch this at any point in time because the conversation is not centered on just today. But just to place this in the timeline, this conversation is taking place about, say, 2 weeks from Christmas Eve, less than a week from New Year's Eve. So firstly, happy 2024 and Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
You know, I'm also saying Merry Christmas because that's also your next release, which should have come in Christmas, right? It's called Merry Christmas, for God's sake. Like,
That kind of is a prerequisite, right? When you have a film called Merry Christmas.
So is that something that you were responsible for, like shifting the date?
Oh no, I wish people were so eager to listen to me, but no.
No, they should be. I'll tell you why. Because everything that I've known about you over the years is that you have your box office numbers in your fingertips. You seem to know the opening collections of movies, the release. So you know the big Bollywood setup in this lot for sure. Like, you're the veteran. No?
I don't know if anyone else sees it that way though. I get your point, but I'm not too sure. Which is, I think, why I love this setup. I think Shriram sir is such a unique person.
You call him sir, is it?
Yeah.
Okay, on the set as well.
Yeah.
Older, yeah.
I think that's age appropriate, right? I don't know. I mean, I didn't ask his
Or
age.
is it a
but
Bollywood thing to say sir?
I think it is. I think it is a bit of a film industry thing, or an industry thing. I think, but also I think sometimes it just feels right. Like, I wouldn't be called Ali sir, right? I wouldn't call Ali Abbas Zafar sir. I'd be calling
Because that's
him
the
Ali.
rapport you have.
He's my rapper. He's my friend. He's also my similar age. But yeah, feels right. I think Shriram sir also sounds nice, and he's got white hair. But yeah, so
I mean, he could dye his hair.
It could be a fashion statement. But I think he's a person who really he's not swayed by trends, and he's not dictated by what is currently going on and currently in trend and in vogue. I think he's just a really passionate storyteller. He's a quintessential movie buff, like. He's the person who can tell you all
what
of
t-shirt is he wearing today? Like, I haven't seen
Exactly. Every day is a new film. So it'll be a Hitchcock film someday, then it will be some Hindi film classic. He's a passionate movie lover. He's a lover of cinema. And he sees things in a very different way. He has a very unique take on things. And so kind of like the first step for me in this film was let go. And I think that applied also to the release of the film, the marketing of the film, everything, because I just wanted in this setup to just take a step back and just see how
he's also
how
earned it,
out.
right, Katrina, in the sense that while he may not be a quintessential Bollywood blockbuster maker, but his last film, which was Andhadhun, that passed, went past 300 crore. Of course, some of it had to do with China box office as well. But for you as an actor, it's a completely different space, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a very different space.
Like, I would imagine Tabu in it, not Katrina Kaif.
No, I can completely see Tabu in a space like this, and I loved her in Andhadhun. I mean, I love her anyways.
Yeah.
I think we all do, but she was just fabulous in Andhadhun, and I think that when me and Shriram sir kind of set out to make this film together, the first important thing for me was to not come with any baggage or any pressure. And the great thing about Shriram is that, now you've made me conscious of saying sir. The great thing about him is he does not put that pressure on you. I'm a great filmmaker and my films are so artistic, and everyone has to be great in my films. He's very chilled. He's very chilled, and he's not putting that pressure on you that कुछ खास करना पड़ेगा, देखते हैं क्या होगा. He's very just, I'm me, you're you. Let's just be true to the situation. Let's be real. Let's find honesty in this. And he does take a lot out of you, though. Like, after the first narration, he told me in the room with him and his editor Pooja. We were discussing something about the character, and he was feeling one way, and I was perhaps having just another kind of viewpoint on it. And I went home and I wrote the backstory. He didn't ask me to. That was the thing I realized. I wrote the backstory of who I thought Maria was, my character's name, and then I gave it to him. I emailed it to him. Because I think it was during one of the lockdowns. I emailed it to him and said, sir, I just wrote a backstory of what I think for Maria. And he really loved it. Like, he really loved it. And we had more in-depth discussions based on that, and I think that gave us a little bit of guidance into our debate. But he's that kind of director who will allow you that space for these conversations.
So I must let the viewers know that I haven't seen Merry Christmas yet.
Oh
yeah, I wish I had. But you kind of know the space is going to be in the noirish space. While it's a Christmas season, it'll have like a lot of Easter eggs, in references and in jokes and things like that. That happens in all Sriram's films. But personally for you, Katrina, I was listening to a couple of interviews that you've done before the release, and you've been saying something to the effect of how you were crying before, crying during, crying after. I'm sure you meant it in a nice way, but you shouldn't be crying so much. I mean, what's going on?
No. Some of it was required, some of it was necessary for the film, and then of course heaps of it was not required, but that was me feeling what I was feeling at the time.
What were you feeling? Like, why are you crying so much?
So I'll tell you what happened. Firstly, when the film actually went on floors, when we started discussing the film and when we went on floors, there was a big time gap. When the film actually went on floors, it was literally 3.5 or 4 weeks after I had just got 3.5 weeks after I had just gotten married. And I'm getting into, you're in this incredibly jubilant, celebratory, happy space, okay? And also you have to remember that there was COVID in between, so all I wanted to do in that moment was spend time with my husband, because it was time we had not had together. It's now time to show up on set. I'm obsessed with my work. I'm extremely dedicated like that. I can't be halfway in anything, but I'm in this incredibly happy, jubilant, coming out of this incredibly happy, jubilant celebration and diving into this film, which, not to give too much away, but is very intense and a little bit of a darker film. And I had to, firstly it was difficult for me to get into the zone. Then once I realized that this is happening, right, then you had to dive in. You had to dive into the deep end. And where the tears started was because in the Hindi part of the film, let me put it this way, there's a fair amount of emotion. So I'm crying a lot in the film as a character because there's a lot of stuff going on, okay? That's what we do when we get upset. And then there was a conversation. I've been told, an issue with a little bit of selective memory. And I know this is true. Some things just don't stick and I just kind of choose to forget it. So
it's a good way to be happy, by the way.
It's a good way to be happy. But also it's a good way to sometimes get yourself in trouble. So Sriram sir has apparently told me, has been reaffirmed to me by my manager, who said it was clearly told that this is going to be a film that's going to be bilingual, which means we're going to do the film in Hindi and we're going to do the film in Tamil. And somehow I just kind of
You forgot the common part.
No, I just kind of passed it off. I think it's just one of those things that ignorance is bliss, or it's like the ostrich. If you put your head in the sand, nobody will see me. If I don't say it, they won't say it. And so we shot the whole the whole Hindi version on the set, right? Now that this is done, and then
do it again.
So then Sriram sir says, and now we're going to do the Tamil version. So this actually happened about 4 days before.
Right.
There was about 4 days left, and then the conversation started warming up. The thing is that he knew I was scared, and he was also delaying to bring it up with me for the longest time because he knew I was so scared. So then the conversation, that box opened up that we're about 4 or 5 days away, and now we're going to start the whole thing again in Tamil. So it wasn't like one shot Hindi, one shot Tamil.
Okay,
it was the whole sequence.
Film.
Not the whole film, per sequence.
Right.
So one set, for example, was 20 days. So 20 days in Hindi. After the 20 days, then we went back and did the whole thing again
That's nuts.
in Tamil.
Did they pay you twice for it?
They did not.
I hope they did. I mean, you did 2 movies, for God's sake.
Listen, you're completely right. And listen, we gotta have a chat about that. Why don't you and me campaign for it?
Sriram, come on.
I think we're gonna campaign for that together. Basically, what happened, to cut a long story short, I'll keep it precise. I tried to convince him not to do it. As simple as that.
Oh wow.
I
was said just dub over it.
No, I just was like, sir, I went as far as saying take somebody else. I said, sir, take a Tamil actress. And he was like, but why are you so scared? I said, sir, I'll tell you why I'm scared. If this was any other film, probably take my last 4 films that I've done.
Take Tiger, for instance,
Oh, wait,
Tiger would be like
Tiger maybe not, but
demanding,
let's say whatever, most of the films that I've done, if you say, do it in Tamil as well, it would be in control. This is a very, very conversational film. There's scenes where it's almost like, I think, a 15-minute scene where it's just you and me talking. So that much conversation to do in a language like Tamil, which is so, which is an
Katrina, I
alien
need
language
to
to
let
me.
you know that this entire conversation that we're having, we'll be doing it all over again in Hindi. I hope you know that, right? Just kidding.
We can absolutely do that. No problem. That's okay. Tamil, I might just like have a heart attack.
So then what happened?
So what happened is that's when the tears started. That's when the tears started. So before that was the tears required for the Hindi part of the shoot. Then was the tears of I think worry to start the Tamil version. So I cried a lot. Genuinely. I think for 3 days I cried. I was like, no sir, I won't be able to do it. I can't do it. It's going to be so difficult. But I was also taking a lot of stress because I was working myself up for all the reasons you just said, no? It's a Sriram Raghavan film and it has to be. And when it was in Hindi, I was fine with it. But the minute it got to Tamil, I was
done, right?
taking
You
the
were
press.
probably emotionally spent by the time you were done with
It
the
was
first.
honestly hard.
Right.
I found it tough. And then
So
he
you've
had
been
this,
talking about how there have been twists and turns leading up to the film. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, I think that and also just the COVID that came in between, how the shoot got kind of started and then stopped. But yeah, so to wind up that story, basically what happened is I had an incredible coach who came to help me. Her name is Deepa Venkat, and she was like my rock. She actually came to me on that day when I was crying, and she came to me, "You look really stressed. Let's go sit outside." And then she just kind of really, really held my hand through it. And then I told myself very simply that now you've expressed yourself, now this is happening, you're going to do this, and now drop everything. Just drop all the stress, drop all the tension, drop all the fear, and do as much preparation on the lines as you can before the camera's rolling. But the minute you hear action, do not think. I know you'll say, but that's obvious. But I really had to force myself. But I just had to force my brain, do not think. And just see what happens, trust what happens.
સબસ્ક્રાઇબ કરો ગુજરાતી મિડ ડે. બેલ આઇકોન પર ક્લિક કરીને મેળવો તમામ વિડીયોના ડાયરેક્ટ નોટિફિકેશન.